Today marks Work Mindfulness Day. This year's event comes amid a dark time in South Africa marred by violence. NGO Wellbeing in Schools and Education aims to change the violence scourge for future generations through teaching children as young as 5 mindfulness techniques. The NGO argues addressing violence should start at grassroots level, and school systems need to teach children these issues from a young age. For more on this, I'm joined by Carol Surya, psychologist and co-founder of Wellbeing in School and Education. Good morning. I love what you're doing. Tell us what it's all about.
Hi, thanks, Jane. Yeah, well, we realize that we can't expect a nation to be healthy and non-violent if we don't start with our children. And so what we do is we go into the schools and we do fun, practical activities that are mindful. And through that, the children actually learn about their feelings, they get to calm down, they get to concentrate better, and ideally, and this is what we're seeing, instead of using their energy for violence, they go into a calmer state of connection and compassion and kindness.
Tell us more about these activities, what it is. I guess, sort of artistic and sporty sort of activities usually work like this, and what it is that you are able to identify in many pupils who are suffering.
Yeah, well, thank you. One of our tools is called dance assembly. So we get the children to do a certain sequence, about 15 minutes worth, of creative mindfulness through using music, movement, games, and interaction. It's based on the biodanza dance system. And in that, what we've noticed is children that have come from very violent, challenging situations where they literally are experiencing gangsterism on the way to school in the Western Cape, they, over a few short months, have gone from being aggressive in these sessions to actually connecting, holding hands, being able to hug each other, and showing a lot of kindness. So it's reducing the bullying and the violence in the schools.
Because if these traumas aren't addressed at an early age, I mean, they'll often manifest themselves when they're older, in older people, don't they? So, Carol, I'm just wondering if this is working, how you are able to roll it out in more schools in South Africa.
Well, that is the challenge. You know, we are a new, young NGO, and we just wanting and needing support from volunteers. The Education Department has contacted us in the Western Cape so that we can join hands with them potentially for particularly traumatized schools. We just need to really grow and get volunteers, get staff, and the training is actually quite simple for adults to also be trained in this dance assembly technique. We have other yoga methods that we take into schools. We have games, my inner magic self-esteem game. And, you know, it doesn't take that much to be able to impact on a child if we have the right attitude and the right tools.
It was interesting reading your notes on the long-term effect of childhood trauma on the brain. How does that work up there?
Yes, absolutely. They've been finding in neuroscience that if you do brain imaging, which is the scanned pictures of the brain, you can actually see that a post-traumatic stress disorder adult, for instance, like somebody who's been through the Vietnam War, and the photographs, the brain imaging of a child who's been traumatized look very, very similar. And this is actually quite shocking, but also quite exciting in the new field of neuroplasticity, because we're finding that the brain is able to change. So if we treat the children enough, if we give them these tools and they actually practice these tools regularly, it creates new neural networks, new wiring, we could say in simple terms, in the brain, so that then their default would not be back to the trauma and the stress and the flight-fight response. Their default can become back to a calmer state. And so they'll rely more on, I call it for the children, I say it's like a screensaver. Their screensaver mode can actually be a healthier one.
Okay, well, wonderful to hear that there is something positive out there that can help our children from an early age. Carol Surya, thank you very much.